I'm going to use the analogy of a sieve. This one, you know, I would have used the one we know best, which is of making tea with tea leaves, because that's the one we are familiar with. But I couldn't find good pictures, so this is the one I'm going to use. So here, what is happening in this picture is that someone wants to make juice using a fruit and wants to remove the seed. So they put a sieve, and then they put the fruit on the sieve, and then whatever juices pour into the bottom cup is what the person drinks. So if, for example, after a while, the person feels, okay, there's no more juice dripping into the jug, let me syndicate these seeds to do more. What they do is you get a spoon and you press the seeds so that the juices can come out. Okay, so that is the analogy I'm going to use for work. What happens when we work? We are the workers are the fruit there. And whatever juices come out that you see at the bottom is a profit. And the sieve is the means of production. So the people who employ you, they own the machines, or they own the land, or they own the buildings. And what they do is that they call you to do some work, and then whatever the deductions they make after paying, after maintenance and all that, is the juice at the bottom. And then what happens is that sometimes when they feel that there's not enough juice coming out of you, what do? They get a spoon to press the juices, so that to press you, so that you can take out as much juice as they need, so that they can have something to sell. Let me just use that analogy to talk about what happens with the workplace. This is basically what I've just spoken about in a nutshell. You have the profits. No, you have the employees or the workers are here. They are the sieve. Okay. Then you have the owners and shareholders who own the sieve. And whatever raw materials they put into the sieve, they use you, the employees, to strain, to sieve out what is profitable for them, and then it now goes into the teacup. So imagine that employees are all tea leaves, and the owners are the ones who put in the hot water, so that when the water comes into the majani, the workers, you make the water turn into tea. Okay, and then that tea is the one that goes into the cup. And the cup is drunk by, I guess, the owners, or they can sell it or whatever. So without you, the workers, doing the work, there would just be tea, water, and majani, and no tea to drink. So the people who work are very important, because they're the ones who turn majani into tea in a cup. So from when they plant, from when they harvest, when they take to the factory, when they dry the tea, when they pack it, when they sell it, when somebody buys it, and then now you're the one and making the tea, all that takes work to transform a tea bush into a teacup to drink. And the way the owners make profit is by making sure they reduce as much as possible the costs that are spent on the employee. During slavery, what they would do is to brutalize people. You brutalize and brutalize until people have no way of demanding better conditions, so that you can get the maximum profit. But when the Industrial Revolution came and machines came, now there was a more sophisticated sieve through which to extract as much work from people as possible. But now employees, in fact, even during slavery, the people who work have always been fighting against this kind of injustice. okay? So what do the employees do when they want to fight for better wages? What they do is that they tell each other, you know, on my own, I cannot go to the boss and ask for a better salary. We have to all come together so that we are able to paralyze this system until the owners and the shareholders listen to us and give us better wages. So after the 19th century, we got the idea of union organizing, where employees come together and bargain collectively. And of course, the interest of the owners and the shareholders is, even though the employees are working together, is to make sure they don't think together. And that's the point of the brutality that you saw in the slave plantations. You demean people so much so that they're not able to collaborate with each other. So for the owners and shareholders, it's not in their interest that employees talk with each other. And for the employees, it is important that they talk with each other and come up with solidarity so that they can demand better working conditions. It's important for us to understand the system so that the workers can get together and fight for better wages. Now, what happened because of that lobbying and solidarity and a lot of work on part of organizers, they got these rights. They got the rights to bargain collectively. So meaning if you're in a registered union and you all decide to take action, your employer has no right to say you can't negotiate, and they have no right to target you as an individual. And what this means is that people fought for unions not only to bargain with the boss, but to get the law to protect them. And actually, that is the principle of strikes. The principle of strikes, which is never talked about in the Kenyan media, is that when you go and strike, your employer has no right to fire you or to victimize you, because your right to bargain collectively is entrenched in the law. And then the other thing, because of this collective bargaining, employees were able to win wages. What is a wage or a salary? Meaning, even if you're not at work on Saturday and Sunday, you will get paid at the end of the month. They also got health benefits because the work takes a toll on the body, and also human beings, being human beings, they are likely to get sick or injured out of work. So a healthy worker is important for an enterprise to make money. So to prevent employers from dumping workers who have been working for them on the basis of they're not healthy enough, they're not able to work enough, there were health benefits. So workers are able to get treated if they get sick because they work at a certain place. Then there are also laws about worker safety, that employers have to make sure that that it's safe enough for people to work for this employer. Then job security. Job security meaning you can't just fire me on a whim, or maybe in 2017 you made a lot of money, 2018 you didn't make a lot of money, 2019 your profits returned. You don't have the right to fire me when you're not making money, and then rehire me when you're making money. And then there's also dignity and job satisfaction. There are things like you don't have the right to insult me, to sexually harass me, to do all these things. As in, even if I'm working for you, my human dignity must remain intact. So those are the things that people fought for in the 19th and early 20th century. And these laws were codified, and states were told that they had to respect these rights of workers. That arrangement worked. It worked very well until the 1970s, because companies were making a profit even though they were paying workers all these benefits. But in the 1970s, there was a slump in oil prices. And so the employers went back to this arrangement and they said, we are losing a lot of money. Our profits are being reduced because we are giving employees all these benefits. You know, how do we remove these benefits so that our profits remain the same, if not increase? And in fact, built into this economic system that we have is the idea that profits must always grow, always. It doesn't matter what the cost is to people or to the environment, profits must always grow. And it's a form of cancer, if you think of it, because cancer is about unlimited growth. When people get cancer, it's because the cells are growing rapidly and they're not, the body is not able to tell them, okay, now I have enough. Now I have enough kidney cells, stop growing. Now I have enough lung cells, stop growing. What happens is that when cells are cancerous, they keep growing. And that's the logic of this economic system, that profits must always grow. So even when there's a slump in world prices, the owners and shareholders, they say, I made 200 million in 2019, I must make 250 million in 2020. Whether there's a pandemic, whether there's floods, whether these people are, you know, whatever happens, they must meet that target. So it's a psychosis of perpetual growth. So in the 70s, when the profits were reduced by the slump in global oil prices, owners said we must continue making the same profit. And how do we do that? We reduce what we are paying employees and we extract more labor from our employees so that whatever the employees are producing over here is increased, but we reduce these expenses so that the profit remains the same, if not more. And enter, that is when you have management. Remember the spoon which I was saying you press into the sieve so that you can extract more. That's the job of management. The job of management is to be the spoon that presses you and presses employees until the employees produce more. But the management also looks for ways on behalf of the owners and shareholders to reduce these benefits that people are getting. And if you notice, even when all this is happening between the management and the employees, the owners and shareholders are not in that story. They are very far away waiting at the golf club for their profits. So the owners and shareholders only talk to management. And then you, the employees, you also talk to management. And then the management's job is to find new ways of pushing you into the sieve until you milk more profits. What has happened? Now, this is now where I'm talking about neoliberalism, which is the topic of today. What has happened in neoliberalism is that now, instead of getting all these jobs, these guarantees of the workplace, now the role of management is to find new ways to change the way we work. So instead of getting job security, you get contractual work. So you're hired on part-time, locum, you know, adjunct. There are all these other words which are meant to talk about workers who don't have a guaranteed salary. You're given a fixed contract and you're told you must deliver and this contract ends on this day. Kibarua, actually, that's what kibarua is. So if you see like the people who work in the industrial area, they're given a contract for 1 year and then they have to wait and see if they'll be hired the next year. And the reason that managements do this is because people on contract don't have these benefits, the benefits that you're seeing here, because these benefits are supposed to be for permanently employed workers. So to avoid those benefits, people are given constant contractual work, vibarua. That's what vibarua is. Another way in which management gets people to avoid, remember what we said, that the strength of employees in bargaining in this arrangement is in their unity, in being able to collaborate and trust each other and work together. So what management introduces is competition between workers so that there's no solidarity and collective bargaining. So now this is where you hear things like employee of the month, where somebody gets the employee of the month award and gets extra money. And because we don't really think about it because we are used to this competition in school. Number one, number two, number one got A, number two got B, like that. So by the time we get to the workplace, we are used to that idea of competition. And instead of asking, what is this doing to us? You celebrate, you tell your colleague, congratulations. But you don't realize that if your colleague wins this award more than once, they'll stop being interested in collaborating with you, and they will want to do whatever the management wants because they're getting an increased benefit compared to you. Another thing that management does is to introduce bureaucracy. Many forms to fill. You know, you punch in at work, then you're told, okay, you must set targets and you must achieve those targets. Those targets are calculated according to a number. There's a lot of paperwork which you're told to fill to prove that you're working. So instead of doing the actual work, half your time is spent filling forms, doing the paperwork so that the managers can have something to report to the owners and shareholders. And the last one that you see management doing is idea theft. They get you together, they say, what do you think about this? And then you, the worker, you're nice, you're just saying, yeah, I think we can improve this, we can improve this. And then the management takes those ideas and they get promoted for the ideas that you gave. And that happens in so many sectors. It happens in the arts, it happens in many places. And I can give you some examples and then after I explain this. All right, so that is what has happened with neoliberalism. They have found ways to avoid the rights of employees and have come up with this system to avoid giving employees stable wages, job security, health benefits, dignity, and they make people work and work and work based on bureaucratic forms. Sometimes people are not even paid because they filled the form wrongly. You know, there's all sorts of, ways in which management is used to press employees into working more and producing more, but in giving them less and less. So what happens with the owners and shareholders is that they pay the management more than they pay the employees. Because if you're talking about 2 managers against 100 employees, it's easier to pay those 2 managers 500,000 shillings a month, while you pay your employers 10,000 shillings a month. And then the management is more dedicated than the employees to keeping this system. Management is the internal mechanism for making sure that employees work to a maximum and get paid at the minimum. The other way in which the owners and shareholders make sure this system stays is by influencing law, policy, and politics. So they donate campaign funds to politicians so that the politicians undermine the laws that guarantee these benefits for employees. So that's how neoliberalism works. A few weeks ago, I was invited by a group of parents to talk to them about education. And one of the things they asked me, which really surprised me, was, how do we prepare our children for the gig economy? Because of this vibarua work, because now it has a posh name, gig economy, they think that it's a good thing. And so they're trying to prepare their children for it when they're not realizing that actually what is going to happen to their children is that the children are not going to have these benefits. They are going to be exploited by management.